Suicide Squad number 45, which we don't normally cover, but of course this is the crossover issue with Aquaman this month. This is the first part of the story. It's co-written by Dan Abnett and Rob Williams, and art by Jose Lewis.
Yeah, I did check the credits page specifically because I was intrigued. Williams is still doing all the script. It was just the story credit is shared between them.
Yeah. And I'm sure they'll alternate next week for Aquaman.
Yeah, it'll be Abnett, because it's his book.
Yeah, to be expected. This is uncommon, but occasionally there's some differences. So I thought it was worth checking.
So I'll tell you the one reason why I don't like reading Suicide Squad.
Yes.
And that's the amount of satin anus jokes that Harley Quinn makes in this.
I did not have a problem with.
I did not have a problem with that either.
One or two is fine. But when it kept happening, I was just like, this is why I don't read this. This is why I don't read Deadpool.
See, No, but here's the thing, Matt. I don't feel like this was constant Satan Anus jokes, right?
Anytime she talked to Satanus, it was.
No.
And then she apologizes.
Matt, you're saying that she's cracking a joke over and over. I don't think she is. She's just decided his name is Satan Anus, and that's what she calls him every time. It's like a nickname he doesn't want, and she keeps calling him that. To me, that makes sense.
But it's not funny.
I mean, I got a good chuckle out of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I got a chuckle the first time. She's like, "Oh, your name's Satin Anus, a Deadshot. You heard that?" And then she just keeps calling him that, and I'm just like, "Okay," it beat it into the ground, and I was like, "Okay, cool." After this, I do not have to read Suicide Squad anymore. So
I mean,
there's like,
is this not a 4-issue crossover?
I don't know. I can't remember
how many. So I'll have to read one after this, then whatever. But it's only because I like Aquaman that much.
Also, Satan Anus, not Satin Anus, just for the
Satin.
record.
No, it's Satin is Satin.
No, it's not. It's A.
S-A-T-I. Mine said S-A-T-I-N.
It's S-A-T-I-N.
Satin.
His name's Satanus. It's two
It
A's.
is Satanus. No, I agree with what his name is, Satanus.
Right.
But she is saying S-A-T-I-N.
Yes.
Oh, so she is. That's less funny. I thought it was funnier when it was Satan's Anus.
Right. Satan's Anus, that would have made me laugh.
I thought that was funnier.
But Satin Anus, and I'm just like, okay, once is fine, but now you're just... And Suicide Squad just doesn't work for me.
That, for me, feels consistent with Harley Quinn, where I experienced her elsewhere, which was always a big problem with Suicide Squad, where she felt like a completely different character. Yeah. So I didn't have a problem with this. I mean, maybe I get that you can just not like that version of Harley Quinn, but at least it feels consistent.
I didn't have a problem with it because I didn't feel like she was cracking a joke. I didn't feel like it was beating me over the head with a joke. I just felt like, no, that's what she's going to call him, and that's it. It's not a joke anymore. It's just what she's calling him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of both, right? Because she accepts that she was just joking around.
I had way more
when he gets really
problems with the fact that
it.
he looked like Magneto than I did anything else.
Yeah, that was bothering.
There's that. There's Master Jailer makes that character. I get it. It's cool. You can't keep there's no lock he can't undo. Then why is he the jailer? Why isn't he the Master Breaker? But then again, these are just issues that I have with Suicide Squad as a whole.
No, I think you're right in general. That is indicative of Suicide Squad, where they're like, well, no one really matters, so we'll just pull in random shit to do whatever we need for that story.
Oh, so they can be killed. Yeah.
Right, and that's fine. I just was like, that's that name. And I know he's a character that's been established in DC continuity and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, he is.
The name just doesn't make any sense. You know, he's not jailing anybody. He's breaking and entering. That's actually a pretty cool villain, to have, right? You can't keep him out. So
I want to just reiterate that Satan's Anus is much funnier, and it should have been Satan Anus.
Pete, I agree.
I'm not disputing that.
Because what's a Satin Anus? What's a Satin Anus? Satin doesn't have an anus.
That's supposed to be the point. It's satin. It's soft, right?
Right.
Like the material. It's like, oh yeah, no, you got a soft anus, right? That's what she's saying.
That's a prison nickname.
It is yeah, exactly.
The one thing I did like about the Suicide Squad characters is I kind of like that Killer Croc. I don't know why, because I've not been reading the book, but he's depressed for some reason, and I thought that was kind of amusing.
By the sound of it,
Enchantress, from what I got.
Yeah, I think he had a thing with Enchantress, and she's been killed.
I just think something was cracking me up about him just being like, nothing matters anymore. Just tell me what you want me to do. It's fine. Like him being mopey was just kind of funny to me. I don't know. They end up riding a big whale into Atlantis. So basically, Atlantis has risen. That happened in Aquaman, as we know, and the government is like, yelling at each other, trying to figure out what to do about this. Are they a threat? Are they not? And Amanda Waller, of course, is going to do this off the book with the Suicide Squad, and she's like, "Okay, I'm going to give you a magic thing, a magic bomb that's going to sink Atlantis again." Obviously, the big reveal at the end is because Deadshot's got a problem. He doesn't kill kids, and he sees like all these kids hiding in Atlantis. And people because I think maybe one of the more interesting things of this issue is the idea that there's actually certain people in Atlantis who are scared of the fact that they're on the surface now, and there's these people hiding underwater because.
Well, that's it. Because the ninth it only rose
tried.
so much. The ninth tried stayed underwater, which I think really works thematically with the rest of the run.
Oh sure, but
it does.
No, what I mean is specifically they mention that there's people who were up top who came down to the ninth. Like they're seeking refuge down there now because they're terrified of being up top.
Yeah, no.
With us Hadlin, it's because Aquaman, who's like, well, I'm not. So Mara's going to be coronated, as we see, because she went out from we saw in Aquaman and Mara, but Arthur doesn't want to distract from that, so he's like, I'm just going to kind of stay down here, and then Volko makes the comment. He's like, yeah, a lot of people are starting to come down from the Ninth Tribe because it's risen, and Aquaman's like, yeah, who knew that so many people wanted to be around us Hadlin scum? That's one of the things I picked up on as I was skimming it.
And Aquaman doesn't want to be involved in the ceremony, which, by the way, I actually think the art looks the best at the ceremony. Like Mira in her big fancy dress and the Widowhood are there.
I don't really have a problem with the art, though. I don't think it's rarely stand out good, but it's solid.
I think that's my point. Is I think that those 2 pages are particularly solid.
Do you know one of my real problems with this book, in concept more than anything, is I appreciate as a crossover, it doesn't just feel like a Suicide Squad issue, right? It does feel relatively even between them.
Yeah, it does. It feels equal to an Aquaman issue, yeah.
My problem is the coronation really should be happening in Aquaman. That feels like a kick in the teeth to anyone who,
Yeah, but with Abnett, it's kind of like what CW did with the crossovers this last time, where it didn't feel like each one was an episode.
Yeah.
Which I just prefer. For the TV shows, I think that's better.
So, no, I agree.
But I kind of do agree with Connor that all of this stuff happened. So let's just say you're like, well, I'm not going to read Suicide Squad, but I'll read the Aquaman and make up the difference in my head. Yeah. You're missing the coronation, which is
and also, as much as the art for the coronation is pretty good, I feel like not having it in Aquaman style that we've established takes something away from it a little bit.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Dolphin still looks good. Her whole ragamuffin.
Sure.
Yeah, Dolphin always looks good.
Got
a dolphin fetish going on here apparently between you two. So the big twist there is Deadshot's like, I'm going to make sure I know what this magic bomb is before we set it off because I'm not putting kids in danger. Amanda Waller lies all the time, and it turns out she especially lied here because it's not a magic bomb at all. It's just a nuke.
Yeah, she's gonna take out Atlantis.
It's just a
classic
goddamn
Waller.
nuke. Yeah.
Classic Waller. Classic Waller.
I like how we can say that like unironically though. Like she was a nuke. Yeah, that's classic.
I do love having her as this. She should not have a job in the government by now, but she just by the skin of her teeth. She just hangs on because she's one of the
she is the one. She is the one thing in the DC universe that makes me think it might be Trump that's the president. Is that she still has a job? In fact, I'm surprised he's not sending her down to the border just to sort of have her stand there.
Yeah. No, that's she's there though. They let her get away with it because they need someone as a scapegoat, right? If shit goes bad and anything gets caught out, it's Waller's fault. It's all her. She went off book.
That's what makes me really want so I would love Rucka to come back and do Wonder Woman again, but him redoing Checkmate, and Checkmate's a check on Waller, but she doesn't know about it.
That'd be cool.
So it's their job to go undo all the things that she thinks she's doing. So I think that would be a whole lot of fun.
That's interesting. One of the officials is the guy from the early Aquaman stuff, which was kind of cool. It's a nice throwback, and I'm pretty sure because there's different ambassadors and stuff at the coronation. At one point there's a woman who I think is the Navy officer from the early of the run as well. So that was a nice little touch. It was nice to, because given that this crossover is essentially the end of Abnett's Aquaman run, it's nice that there's some pullbacks that feel natural. Given that they're kind of functioning both as the end of a run and the setup for the next thing, it's nice that some of the elements from the early of the run are kind of just being sprinkled in here.
Yeah, even that the general that we see, who wants to take out Atlantis and is all hostile. He was the one from when Aquaman was, captured, way back near the start.
Which was one of the weaker parts of the run, but it's still nice that it's just calling back to it. It makes it feel all connected.
Yeah,
so
because he was the guy with the Aquamarines, right?
Yes.
He was on started that. Yeah.
So no. So yeah, it was a little bit mixed because of the Suicide Squad stuff, but as an issue of Aquaman, as part of the Aquaman story, I liked all the stuff with those characters.
Yeah.
So and I like the ending. I like Deadshot kind of questioning the Order because he doesn't kill kids. I like that well enough to.
Yeah.
Also, I know I'd seen some people questioning earlier in the week because in our circles, no one really reads Suicide Squad. Going, oh, what was going on with Katana following some of the other stuff earlier, and is she still been on Suicide Squad? This it sounds like she has been because they mentioned that she's been around recently.
Yeah, but not now.
But not right now, for whatever reason.
And obviously,
she was always a check, right? She was always there in case somebody needs their soul taken.
Yeah, because Katana's not a villain. She was kind of there as the one who was there to keep an eye on them. Because it mentions that Waller did something really bad to Rick Flag. No idea what. Not been reading. But it sounds like Katana might have been more doing what he was doing afterwards with the team.
But she has been around recently because they do mention her. They're just not right now.
Well, she's moving on to better things over with Batman and the Outsiders. So
the Outsiders, yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. Thank you very much. All right. So let's rate it then. Matt, what are you giving it?
That was 6.5. Again, I skimmed it though, so it might have been better, might have been worse, but
Connor, what are you giving it?
I'll give it a 7. I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, no, I think I can agree with the 7. I think it's a bad issue by any means. Although it'd be a 7.5 if it was Satan Dennis, just for the record.